Shall we rest?
Awkwardly.
Where should we rest?
Drink.
Yeah, just on the bite of the bread. It's very good.
So you all can take a short rest, use up any hit dice you want, any special abilities. Up to you if you have small talk during your short rest. Elle is just sitting very still, just watching you. Her expression hasn't changed from when you first came in. She's very monotone.
Does this reset our max HP, or does that rest?
No, that'll be on a long rest.
But you can roll hit dice.
You can roll hit die to get
Like
up
this?
to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but I don't need to. I'm fine.
Yeah, if you have full HP, like those are like it's sort of what I like to say, like tending to your wounds kind of thing. You won't get max.
Right, but you can heal up to whatever you could, because the bite drops your maximum, but you can bring your health back up.
Okay, and our max will heal on like a long rest?
A long rest.
Gotcha.
Or I would even say, I don't think any of you have 5th level spells yet, though.
No.
I'd say a greater restoration would also clear that up.
I'm going to use 2 sorcery points to get back 2 spell slots since I get nothing back on a short rest.
I'm actually going to use two harnesses of divine power to get back 2 spell slots as well.
I believe you get everything back on a short rest.
Mm-hmm. I already did these. Oh.
I think your channel divinity comes back on a short rest.
I was like,
at
wait,
level
I
6.
used this. Okay, so I'm going to do that before I go on my short rest and get back the 2 slots. So, okay. All right. Well, if we have Spawn not chasing us, then I think we can get back quite easily.
You sufficiently healed.
She still looks really gray in the face, like somebody who has lost half of their body's worth of blood and is, trying not
She
to.
accidentally
pass
went
out.
to the blood bank twice.
Right.
Instead of having her out the door, they put her right back.
Donated a little too much.
Here. Yeah, looks a little bit woozy, but I need to sleep.
Well, you feel ready to head out?
I'm ready.
All right then.
Very well. Thank you for the rites. Enjoy your war.
I hope to see you again.
I hope it's under these similar circumstances. You all seem like fine people.
You as well. Let's go.
Bye now.
She opens the door for you, still sitting.
Also, a piece of bread.
Bread from the road.
Chug a line a little bit. There's an iron in here. I can.
Filling up your little wine skins, ready to go for the road.
For the road.
And she closes the door behind you as you continue to leave.
I don't feel good about that. But it was necessary
Agreed.
to survive.
We will find out.
Yes, we'll see if she makes good on her end of the deal here with us not getting swarmed with vampires on our way back.
And take a look around. The darkness. We only have a few more hours, but just gonna look and see. Not overly convinced that there wouldn't be people kind of Even if they're just waiting for us and not going
Look
to
that eye shine.
Yeah. Just kinda look
I
at-
would.
Roll a perception check if you want to look out into the darkness to see if you notice.
14.
4.
Can I put on my headband
Mm-hmm.
that gives me some sort
Dark
of
vision?
Dark vision.
Yes. So I'll let you roll perception with advantage. Normally it's disadvantage for normal, but
Oh.
because you have the light of the drift globe and everything,
Perception.
Disadvantage or advantage?
you had advantage.
I had an 8. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so 8, 14, and 4. So this side of the table, it's hard to adjust your eyes from being inside a closed area with a drift globe and a fire. So your eyes have adjusted to a bright light. So when it's like when you are at the beach all day and then you come into the darkness of the inside of the house, it's extra dark for like those first few minutes. You're having a hard time seeing where the door was after you just closed it. Sakidi, as you're looking around, you don't see anything out of the ordinary, but you do notice it was more what you didn't realize you didn't notice on the way in as you were trying to get your in. You hear chirping, crickets, an owl off in the distance. You didn't notice those sounds of the woods, so to speak. But now you do hear the crickets.
Should have done a perception check before we went in. See if we could hear the voices from Lost.
How are you now? All right. I'm ready to get out of this country.
Yes.
What do we want to do with this ring? We should probably discuss on our way.
Yes.
I feel like we have information as well now to trade for our lives.
To the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
She does not sound like a forgiving monarch.
The last thing I want to do after going through all this is to get killed by the Queen.
I agreed.
So are we keeping the ring then?
Maybe we should
We either sell it
pawn it.
or what power could we use for it? We can already walk in the day.
Just hang on to it, just in case something comes up someday.
Leverage. If you intend to return here, you will need all the leverage you can get.
I would like to be on her good side. I think perhaps folks are making this queen out to be more dangerous than she really is in order to scare us away from speaking to her.
Well, I hope you're right. Oh, what if we put it in an envelope that said open it after we leave?
Giving orders to the queen,
No,
are
okay,
we?
if maybe just mail it after we're gone.
Let's give it to a guard on the way out.
Yeah. Like, oh, but by the way.
I would like to gain her favor from it. If I am to return and avenge Francis and others, Jace, I could use her.
Would that not be
connections.
taking sides?
No, my side is whores only. And I and
It's a
vengeance,
door only.
vengeance
Side of whore.
for the fallen. Jace, we cannot be 100% sure that he is dead, but it did sound that it went that way. Gave his life for our lives.
Yes.
I'm just speaking for myself. I now have a charge I must see through.
So you think, not knowing this queen, that we could, despite what we've been told, we could give it to her and she wouldn't harm us?
I think we write a letter to our respective royal families with the information and a timer. If we don't return to the person that we give it to, then they send it off. And that information then goes out of Devenia. And we tell the queen that if she does not take our heads off, then that information stays with us, and we work to help fight against the vampires.
Fair enough.
As long as she's not offended by our insurance policy, I think it's a...
I would hope she would understand.
Yeah.
But I'm not a queen, I don't know. We have a room waiting for us. I can take time and write. At least mine. I have more
skin in the game. Yes, I just want to get out of here alive, basically. I'd just like to make it home at some point.
Well, let's make it back to our hotel room.
Yes.
I need to sleep.
Everyone roll me survival checks.
A 0.
5.
So with an 18, maybe it's your headband or maybe that little bit of wine, but you're feeling very confident. You notice that the thinning of the trees is mostly just a little bit off to your right, so you get the feeling this is the direction that you want to head.
This is the way.
I believe you.
I will cast light back on my mace and help light the way.
All right, and how are you going through? Are you guys going at a normal pace, quick pace? Are you trying to keep quiet? What type of trekking are you doing?
Well, we probably don't want to go... If we're supposedly not being chased, we don't need to go fast. We also need to be aware of our surroundings, because there are other things that could hurt us. Normal, medium pace.
At moderate pace.
Moderate
Just going
pace.
normal.
I'd like to go in the front.
So you're gonna spearhead in the scouting position.
I'll go in the back.
And I've got my head down, and I've still got my drift globe.
So yep, you've got a nice. You basically have the high beams of a ship. You know, the center mast, and you are just panning as you go, and so it's pretty well lit up as you go. Let's roll perception checks from everyone.
And I'm going to periodically be looking behind us, just because I'm... 25.
25.
19.
9. So as you go with your 25, it is pretty clear all behind you. The hoots and the cricket chirping that you heard outside the cabin has continued the entire time. It's been pretty quiet other than a couple of times the wind bristles the trees, and for a second it almost sounds like somebody is going to come right through the brush at you, but nothing ever ends up happening. As you continue going through the woods through the time that it took you, you were about 3 hours till dawn when you left. As you continue your trek through, you arrive just outside of the city, maybe an hour or so before dawn. Though, as you know, it does already start to brighten up as you're reaching the city limits. As the sun continues to crest, now that you are outside of the canopy, the city is probably less than a mile. The interior of the city is probably less than a mile from where you are right now. As you enter the city, where do you go first?
Hotel. Yeah, we've got our room waiting for us.
To the inn, Dawn. The Dawn Inn.
The Dawn Inn.
All right. So as you head through the city, again, still just a little bit before, you do notice there are some people going around to the street lanterns. Now that the sun is about to begin to crest, there are people going out, putting out the lamps for the day. As you continue on, you start to smell that sea breeze air as the Dawn Inn is more towards the dock area, so that salty smell hits your nose. As the sun begins to rise, you can hear the seagulls from out in the distance. Make it to dawn. And it has only been 3 days since you first arrived into Divenia, so you still have your room available to you. Who has the key?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I feel like you would have the key. I don't remember for sure if you did, though.
I think it's me. I didn't write it down, but
We were given a key.
yeah, we were given the key.
Yes, you have the room on the 4th floor. Do you go straight up into your room? Do you stop at the bar after your long trek for a nightcap before you go in?
Do we see anyone? Like, do we walk by it?
As you go through into the tavern doors, it's very similar to when you first arrived. The young Martha is sweeping and wiping down the tables, taking the chairs down. You don't see him, but you assume that her grandfather is somewhere just in the back. Usually there's not people first thing until first light, but you do see that the candles are lit, the morning fire has just started, so they are preparing for people to start coming in.
I'm fine to go right up.
Yeah, it was a long day.
Yeah, it's like dawn now, so.
Actually, as we are heading up, and I will just kind of pass by the bar and just say, "Good morning. We're gonna go to bed, but have our what would we call them? Counterparties? The other heroes that are staying here. Have you seen them?"
No. Unfortunately, they have not been back yet. We're still holding their room. They still have another 4 days. They paid for a week, just like yourselves. But they have not returned, no.
Did they leave after we did?
Yes, they left the day after you did.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Morning meal will be in roughly 2 hours. Dennis is working in the back right now.
Okay. Well, good morning.
Good night.
Good.
Please don't take this the wrong way, but you might scare away other parishioners. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps changing before you come down again.
Oh, we would.
Yes, we're gonna get going for shop.
I understand the life you live it is, but need to make sure people feel safe in where they rest their head.
Of course.
Oh, yes. I mean, I would hope seeing us this way would make them feel safe. But, no, I understand.
Thank you.
Just gonna crash. We have that journal. You have the journal, right?
Sure.
Before I go to sleep, I'm gonna go to Sakidi and take out the ring and say, I think it's best. I'd like to give this to you now. I feel like it's, now that we're back and we're not in immediate danger, it's something that would be best kept by you.
I'll take it, gladly. Gonna do a little prayer to Hor, holding the ring.
I'd like to clean my sword before I go to sleep.
Alrighty. right, yeah. So it doesn't take you very long, maybe about 10-15 minutes. You manage to clean any chunks and any dried bits of the crimson, and then another 5 minutes you get a light oil and polish to prevent any sort of patina starting onto Tin Can Betty's greatsword, her new magical greatsword. And with that, you all get into your beds and you all take a long rest.
Yay.
Nice.
And with that, everyone levels up.
Oh,
Ooh.
I was not
we'll
expecting
level
that.
up in
A
a
level up.
one shot. And again, Pat loves leveling up.
Absolutely. 100%. So, after a very stressful and strenuous evening, you've made it out of the woods inside of Abhartach, made it back to your room, located outside of the docks, the Dawn Inn. Now you came into your rooms just before dawn. You have finished your long rest, so now it is about a little after midday. You wake up, the sun is bright, coming through your curtains. What are you doing?
I'm washing my robes. I'm in like that sumo wrestler underwear. It's just like several cloth wraps around your groin. I don't have a change of clothes, so I'm just trying to re-whiten my robes.
Well, I feel much better. Stronger even. Which is a little bit unsettling, but
Put your hand in the sun.
put my hand in the sun. I think that whore would have struck me down if I were going against his, well,
Oh, I don't know if whore was a he.
yes. Yeah. As long as I fulfill my vengeance quest, I think I will.
I guess whore can be whatever they want.
He normally showed as a he. His avatar.
I don't know where I got the bucket and grape.
So how do we want to handle this? I mean, I don't know how easy it is to demand audience with the queen.
Well, first we need our insurance policy, yes?
Yes. Let me start writing.
We have intelligence checks from everybody. Straight intelligence.
Ooh.
8.
18.
17.
The two of you, as you are you're talking about how are we supposed to get a meeting with the queen, you remember Jace had mentioned if you show the ring to a palace guard, they will know what it means.
No, don't we need to get money from like the guy that sent us?
Yeah, we get paid.
We
Did we already get paid?
Yeah, we got paid.
Oh, paid in advance. Okay then.
I thought there was more money
We're just gonna get out of here.
after.
Maybe.
Someone mentioned there was a check. Anyone with kids just knows that one.
I'm gonna write out my insurance policy letter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send this to someone that I know and trust. And the instructions will be that if they do not hear from me within 10 days, they are to send the letter on to the Callian Emperor, if they'll take it.
So you take about 15-20 minutes to write up your insurance policy. There is a small, I don't think the right word is post office, but a messaging office located just outside of the docks. As you've seen when you came in, there were dock runners who run the bags off of one ship and pick up another bag to run back before the boat comes to a complete stop. So there is an active postage system throughout Tania, which would then extend over to Muldris.
All right. Anyone else have any? We only need the one.
I don't have anything to send anything to. No one cares about me.
That's not true.
I care about you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, no one outside of here cares about me.
All right, I'm gonna go send this. I'll go down.
Down the street, to the postage. It's fairly inexpensive. It's a couple silver in order to arrive safely. If you want priority, that'll be another 2 gold.
Yes, priority.
So it'll be going on the next ship heading directly to Callian Empire. So it'll leave today outside of the bay. Most likely go to the island of Strigoi before heading across the Great Sea.
All right. And then I shall return. Okay. We want to wait a day? Let my letter leave the port before they, we go, and then say, I've sent a letter, and then they just go to the boat and confiscate all the mail.
They don't know when you sent the letter.
It's true.
But we could take a day, collect our money.
Yes, and maybe find out about the whereabouts of the other party.
Oh, yes.
You recall you overheard Isaac explain as you were there the other group was heading towards the northeast corner of Divenia. It's a much further ride, so you're not sure when they are to return.
Let's go see Isaac.
Do we want to do anything about the old man who originally told us we showed the ring to? Do we think he's
back at World's End?
Oh, he's at World's End.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was old.
Oh, I was
The
picturing.
shopkeep guy.
I was picturing an old prospect. Take a bite out of it. Ah, you well to shell it?
Do we trust Isaac? Do we tell Isaac about the rings? Or do we leave that out?
No.
No.
I think, but I do want to tell him about what happened.
The vampires.
Yeah.
About that. Yeah. Yes, I think that's a good idea, going back to visiting.
Maybe demand a little bit more money.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to know we're going to the Queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, with that, you make your way back uptown. It's bright, as always, inside of the city. Seems like, just like when you left the other day, the docks are extremely busy, and then it starts to slow down as you head towards uptown, as the rising of the different parts from the cliff, like the cliff area that you climbed down in your horrible night, find your way back standing in front of Isaac Clarke's door.
Do you want to try to no, I was going to say intimidate him, but I was
thinking about it.
All right.
It had crossed my mind.
You!
You have a very big sword on my back, so if it comes to it, I could perhaps.
We start soft spoken.
I don't know how to speak in any other manner.
Do you want to lead us in?
Okay.
You don't have to.
No, I mean, knock on. Did we knock before, or does it just come as you go? I think we just kind of barged our way in, didn't we?
No, we knocked.
All right, I'll knock on the door.
Yes, come in.
Open the door, walk in. Greetings, Isaac.
So as you open the door, you see Isaac doesn't raise his eyes. He is writing on his desk, like very feverishly. Yes, how may I help you today?
Well, firstly by
Putting the pen down.
acknowledging our existence would be helpful. You did send us off into the open, close the door, mouths of vampires, after all.
What are you doing back? You're not supposed to be back till the end of the 10-day.
Well,
Plans change.
our driver was abducted whilst driving us.
Did
We
not
nearly
start
died.
well.
We were chased up until just a few hours ago by vampires and their spawn.
Right.
Were you aware of this hazard? Occupational hazard?
We've heard stories, but no one has been attacked. It hasn't been since the Dark Lord was driven from these lands.
Do I believe him?
Insight check.
I have +7 in all of these things, and I roll 3s or 1s or 2s for a total of 9.
With a total of 9, he is maintaining eye contact. He is surprised to see you. You get it from the fact you were not supposed to be back for another 3 days. But he seems none the wiser of any sort of that being inside of Davenia. To him, that seems crazy. That's in the past.
Well,
She's got holes.
yes, I do. I was bit several times, and I feel as though, well, first of all, the goods have made it. They arrived. The goods have been delivered.
Excellent, excellent.
Your driver is now a vampire spawn. Francis is dead.
Oh my.
And he tried to kill us,
And he tried.
along with many others.
My. Oh
I
my.
feel as though you should be warning folks.
I mean, this is the first that I've heard of such problems here. Like I said, no one has had anything.
In
Like
World's
this.
End, they are very much aware.
Oh my. Well, I'm glad you all made it back. The goods made it arrived. I assume you're here for your payment then.
Yes. Would appreciate a little bit of extra for my medical bills.
Roll persuasion check.
Can I add advantage to that with intimidation? Like, I want to pull a Raiden and just like my eyes turn white and a little lightning goes zzz.
Is he sitting?
He is still sitting at his desk.
Okay. I want to be like, I mean, I'm pretty tall, but I'm gonna make myself seem even taller and kind of like, I'm not gonna like take my sword out, but I'm gonna kind of like, let's like play with the handle a little.
Let me get an intimidation check, and what'd you roll for persuasion?
6.
6.
23.
24.
Scary.
Just
So
like,
I'm just picturing
right here,
Raiden
you
in
can
the
see-
movie where he just sits there and he's like,
So a single bead of sweat starts to run down the balding head of Isaac Clarke. I'm very sorry. Yes, of course. His hand starting to shake a little. You remember the last time he had a sack which had 1,000 gold. He places the sack, and then you hear him rustle around with extra coin, like an extra handful from another sack. I'm very sorry. This is unheard of. We've never had any issues like that. None of my drivers or adventurers have said any of such things.
Well, we appreciate your payment.
You may want to send payment to Francis's family.
I don't know if I know he was not wed and no children. I will make sure though that any kin that he has is informed and taken care of.
And if they see him, kill him on the spot.
Well, that might be easier said than done. Don't invite him into their house.
He tricked us. Yeah, you gotta be real careful.
Should warn them not to invite him in.
Oh my. Yes, of course. I understand that you had a rough go. But if you want, there is still more work out in Divania.
We're good with that.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're all set.
yeah.
This, I'll bring this back to my home to make sure that my wounds are well taken care of. Maybe I'll retire. I think retirement sounds good.
I need to pay the laundryman,
Mm-hmm.
which is me.
You won't be seeing us again.
Well, I appreciate your patronage, and thank you for informing me of Francis. I will let his family know what you've told me.
I want to unsheath my sword and rest it on the floor, so I'm kind of leaning on the handle casually. And I would hope anyone that you may employ in the future, you plan on telling about this, even though it will make finding employment probably significantly harder.
Yeah, yes, of course. Like I said, I had no idea. No one has had made any mention of such things.
All right. Shook. Put it back.
We will not be speaking of this outside of this room. I don't want anything more to do with this country, as lovely as it is. So it never happened.
All right. Thank you.
Have a nice life.
Bye.
You as well. He's just completely white face. There's no blood. It's just completely drained from his face. It's not even beads of sweat. It's just bullets, points, and just sweat just all over his brow.
Let's close the door.
And after we walk out, I go like this and use gust to slam the door behind us from the inside of the building.
I don't know if mentioning to that pose was the best idea, but it's done. Fuck it.
It did get us some extra money.
Yeah, it did. How much? Well, it's counted in the room.
So the full sack was 1,000, and altogether with the extra coins, he added an extra 20 coins in his grasp.
1,020 divided by 3. The calculator in my pocket. 340 gold. On the nose.
Bam.
So do we go today to the Queen?
Guess it depends on how quickly we want to get out of this country.
I guess if I could...
I'd like to get out pretty quick. I just don't want to be here any longer than we need to.
If I could get on the same boat as my letter, that would be... Oh, that would be great.
That would be nice.
So you're heading to the palace.
Sure. Yeah.
It's very easy to see from anywhere in the city. As I said, it goes up. It's pretty much the highest point in the city. And as you've come to see, it seems to reflect the sunlight very well. So it's quite bright all around it, though the black stone seems almost like a void of light. As you move closer and closer in towards the palace, you can see that most of the buildings here are no longer wooden. They are stone. Some of them even have the accents of the dark black, clear, smooth black stone. As you can start to get closer towards the palace, you start to notice there's different architecture as from down into the dock. It appears to be older than the outskirts of the city. More remnants of the Queen's expansion. She's not just expanding into the deep woods, but she's expanding the city as it grows for the need of the population. Walk for about 30 minutes, and the palace doesn't seem to be getting any closer until, before you know it, almost 60 minutes now, you've arrived at the front gate. As you look up at the palace, it's so tall you can't even begin to count how many stories, because it looks as though the outside is all just one continuous piece of the same stone. You're almost positive that it is one stone, but it could just be that the gaps are so small you can't see. You're about maybe 100 feet to 150 feet before you actually can get to the palace from where you are. As you begin to approach, there are 2 guards inside, just inside of the gate. They each have a spear in their hand and a long sword on their hip, and they are both standing shoulder to shoulder, maybe 3 feet apart. There's one spear in their left hand, the other spear in their right, and they, as you approach about 15 feet, you're, "Halt! What business do you have?"
That with the Queen. Long may she reign.
The Queen doesn't accept guests without an invitation. Do you have one?
We do.
Present the seal.
Reach into my pocket, then start walking towards and hold up the ring.
Can you put it on your finger and hold it there?
So, as you begin to approach, what you start to notice is, as you're getting up to the gates have thick iron bars placed about 4 to 5 inches apart, enough so that you can see, but you would have a hard time reaching your arm through there. The guards are about another 5 to 10 feet beyond there, and as you get closer, I said a seal, not a ring.
I feel as though this particular ring is as good as any seal I may present.
Roll persuasion check.
14.
All right. Stand back from the gate. He approaches.
I'm still holding it up so that you can see it.
Hold it closer.
Hold it close enough, but not so close he could snatch it.
And now that you are probably about altogether 5 feet apart, you now see the guard is an elven male with black hair. You have now come to kind of think he might be a Shadakai. Alright. Stand single file. Stay close behind me, and the other guard will move into your flank. So you now have one guard in front, one guard behind. Follow with me. Do not touch anything. Do not speak to anyone.
We wouldn't dream of it.
That includes myself.
Of course, I will not.
This starts now.
I just gotta laugh a little bit. Look at Betty and
And you start moving forward. The guard in the front has taken the spear from one hand and he's holding it in two hands, going across his body. As he starts marching up these steps. You go up about maybe 20 or so steps. Could be more, but you're not really keeping track. Very well all stone everywhere that you can see. The doors open, large, tall, 12-foot high, arching doors. Very slow until they finally start to smoothly glide open into place. There's two people on ropes on each side of the door in order to open the doors. So we begin walking down into the main hall. You can see there are sculptures and paintings, different tapestries, elegant rugs laid out on the ground. Let's have everyone roll a perception check.
I swear. I'm telling you. I don't know if I can. I'm only very nice.
2.
14.
14.
9.
9! So you notice both Betty and Sakidi, you notice just paintings, different things, although Aeolus, as you're going, you begin to notice in the corridor that these appear to be like family portraits. Some are very old. You can't really be sure exactly how old, but you can tell that these are most likely the royal family. As you're going, you notice a small, not quite wouldn't be photorealistic, but not quite realism.
AI
There is, as you get closer to the end of the main hall, there is a portrait. It appears to be a mother, a father, and two, you would assume, twin girls. As you approach, wait here. Don't leave this hall.
Okay.
So as the lead guard goes in through the doors, the secondary guard who was flanking behind you turns and waits at the door, silently, spear in his hand.
What does he look like?
He is also a Shadakai. He is, they are both about 5.5, maybe 5'8", a little bit shorter. I believe you were about, 5'10", I think you said?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And same with you, you were about 6 feet, I
so.
believe, because you were like tall.
I'm
remember.
like 6'2", I think.
Yeah. So they're a little bit shorter than you, all of you, between like 4 and 6 inches shorter than you. About the average height of an elf that you've come into contact with. He is very nondescript. As I stated before, the elves have normally very high cheekbones with a pointed jaw. These ones have, just like Jace, exceptionally smooth, pale skin.
You're not supposed to talk to them.
No, it was just the first one. This one's okay. There's no rule on that. How's the dental here?
No talking.
He said not talking to anyone, which extended to them, but I don't think it extends to us.
So that it's not too busy inside of here. You see some servants walking across the hall. Before you know it, you hear a very hard thump on the ground just outside, and the guard steps aside and both of the large doors open. You appear to be coming into like a courtyard area, and you're being beckoned by a man. He's a human male, about 6 feet tall, a little bit on the bulkier side. Not so much like a weightlifter, but almost like a blacksmith. Like he looks as though he has put in a lot of hard labor. He's in a very fine black doublet, head to toe, very fine clothing. There's a little brooch seal right by his clavicle area. He stands both hands behind his back. Yes, I will need all of your names.
Likely you wanted to come here.
I am Sakidi.
Aeolus.
Do you need like our whole legal name, or just like is a nickname okay?
We'll need to know who is addressing the Queen.
Okay. Betty's good.
Betty, Aeolus, Sakidi. Once inside of the throne room, do not speak unless spoken to first. Do not touch anything, and do not move forward unless gestured by Her Grace.
Got it.
Understood?
Very well. Behind me. And he turns on his heel, arms
No wind.
still behind him.
Wind shenanigans.
No wind.
Why?
Because you'll get us killed.
I was going to make our clothes blow in the breeze so we looked epic as we came in.
I would pass.
I don't know if this is the time.
So as you are led through the courtyard to the opposite side, go through a couple of corridors, up a few stairwells. Before you know it, you are presented, open the door inside of the throne room. The man who led you there stands towards the outside, arms still clasped behind his back the whole walk. Nods. Okay. On your way.
Okay.
As you come in, there's a few people off to the side. It appears to be a dome-like shape on the inside. So as you're walking, your boots clacking start to echo as you begin to move in. This is like an auditorium style with the curvature in order to amplify people's voice. You can see that there is a small viewing section of people finely dressed sitting off on your left-hand side as you continue to walk, and as you get about maybe 30 feet from the Queen, two guards extend their arms, crossing spears. It's far enough. They pull their arms as you wait, and before you know it, everyone stands who's seated. Well, they have a bugle, a few different sounds. Majesty, first of her name, Lucia Morningstar. She comes in. It's very quiet, dead quiet. You can hear the queen walk across from the door. As you do, you see an older human woman, probably about 65 years old, maybe older. She's in a very fine, just off-white dress with a purple on the inside throughout her chest and into her navel area. Her hair is highly done behind her. It's mainly silvered. From where you are standing, you can't quite make out any details on her face. She sits down, and everyone on both sides of you begin to sit down and relax. The man who let you in then walks past you to the front, whispers into the queen's ear. As soon as something that is said in her ear, her eyes fixate on the three of you. She gives a nod, and he turns around and gestures for the guards to let you move forward. As you approach, you can see where the throne is inside of the throne room. There's maybe about 4 or 5 large steps on the platform. So as you're walking forward, the queen is probably about 4 or 5 feet higher than you are. As you approach, you'll be before the Queen Lucia Morningstar.
Okay, so
Everyone kneels down.
I guess.
stand up.
We hear you have some news for our grace,
Yes,
and you are
Sakidi.
Sakidi, surname.
I don't have one.
We have a Sakidi speaking to Her Grace.
Your Grace. I don't know where to begin.
She
I-
may want to clear the courtyard of prying ears.
Well, I will leave that up to her discretion. We are in possession of an item that we would like to present to you. If I may, reach into my pouch and retrieve it.
She looks towards the man in black, gives a nod. All right then, slowly.
I'm gonna pull out.
As you do, the 2 guards actually do start to walk towards you.
I'm gonna pull out the journal. We came across this journal in the Dawn Inn. It has information written by one of your soldiers about the war. Let's step forward.
Hand it to the man in black. Takes it.
It's written in Elvish.
Nods to the queen. Queen gives another nod. Puts his hands back behind him. We were told you have something else.
We do have something else. We were told that presenting this something else could come at a cost to our lives. So before presenting it, we would like some assurance that we will be allowed to leave this lovely region and go back to our homes. We are giving this gift over willingly, as we could have simply absconded with it. Instead, we are presenting it to the Queen.
Looks back towards the Queen. She's been very silent this whole time, answering questions with just gestures and nods. She gives a slow nod. Yes.
Okay. Reach back in. I'm going to retrieve it now. The ring. This is a daylight ring. This one was given to us by a now deceased,
Possibly.
not by our hand, Shadar Kai, by the name of Jace.
In the name of Chase, you actually hear the Queen stomp her foot, and as she does, the other Shadakai actually begin to start herding. Oops. Begin to start herding any of the people that were in the viewing areas outside of the throne room. It's actually happening quite abruptly. After a few minutes, it's settled, the doors have closed. You say this is Jace's rings. Now the first time you've heard the Queen speak once everyone left.
It is. I'll hand it to the guy.
She looks it over. And you say he's dead now.
We did not see it happen, but I would assume that the only reason why a person like Jace would hand us this ring is because he knew he was not long for this world.
So you know of the things in the woods.
We do. We were attacked by the things in the woods. We defeated some of the things in the woods, and we did have another ring that was stolen from one of the things in the woods. However, in order to get back here
I wouldn't have told them this.
and present you the one ring that I have, we lost the other. It's a picture better.
And these things that you saw in the woods. What do you know of them?
Well, we know everything that is written in that journal. We know everything that Jace told us.
And what did he say?
He said, vampires. And their spawn. We also fought them. The spawn, anyway. And I believe we had a conversation with a vampire.
And she did not say no.
She did not say no when we asked. But she also was the one who essentially told us to give her the ring that we had taken off of the white that we slew, or she would destroy us. And so, in order to bring you back this one ring, we had to lose the other.
And this vampire you speak of, describe them? What was their name? What do they look like?
Her name was Elle.
She looked like. She's gonna look at the elf guards. Except purple eyes and very, very, very pale skin.
Black hair.
Black hair, purple eyes. And you lived.
She invoked on our behalf guest rights.
Roll persuasion check.
I believe that is a 12. That is a 9.
So you had 2 rings, and you bring me 1.
Yes. Our deal with her was either give her 1 or bring you 0 because we would be dead in the woods. And she would have the one that is in your hand. I believe wholeheartedly that we would have been crushed into the ground. We're no match for her.
These creatures of the night have run rampant in my lands for decades. We've pushed them out of the main cities, but the vermin do not go easily into the night. This is not common knowledge for people outside of my inner circle. I can understand why. The only way to exterminate them is to have more people than them. Though you've brought me a great artifact. But you have acted against Devenia, aiding Devenia's enemies, whether you realize it or not.
If I may. I am a follower of Hor. And with Hor, I swear an oath to vengeance. Violence repays violence, good repays good, evil repays evil. I did let this Elle know that she had acted against us in her attack on Jace, her attack on our wagoneer, coachman, Francis, who she also stole, and made into a spawn. And I let her know that I would be revisiting her. I understand that you are upset that we handed over this ring, but again, I can assure you that it was either one or both. And you would be without the one that is in your hand.
Roll persuasion check.
That is cocked. And that is cocked, but it looks like an actual 20. And that is a 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Really don't want to have to kill the queen.
I don't know if the queen.
I don't want to have to kill you.
Oh, I'm ready to.
Though you have aided the enemies of my home. Believe that that was not your intention, but a debt is needed to be settled. You will go out and you will find and bring me back my ring.
Like today. Can be a month from now.
If I may speak on behalf of my party. I was the one who handed over the ring. I was the one who made a pact with my god to bring vengeance back upon Elle and all of hers. I will gladly take up this charge. Just kind of like hold on to the two-faced coin that hangs around her neck. However, I would ask that Betty and Aeolus are given a chance to decide if they would like to join me, as this was all my doing, and I have taken up that charge with Hor.
What say you then? Do you stand with this follower of Hor, or do you leave now?
I honestly have nothing better to do.
I mean, I can't imagine just you going out there on your own without me. I would come too. I'll come too.
I know you want to get out of here, so...
We'll do it after, I suppose.
I'm in too deep now.
Very well. You will stay under my charge until you retrieve the ring. Understood. You are now my subjects, in my city, in my homeland.
Tefenia.
Do we get benefits?
She turns to her side, whispers, and the guards that were off to her side begin to lead you out of the throne room, back into the courtyard. And one of the guards says, "We're sending you to quarters now. You'll eat well. Starting tomorrow, you're going back out into the woods." And as you begin to walk, you're being walked back into that large hall. At the beginning of the large hall, when you first walked in, you couldn't really see it from where you were standing, but there are two different hallways going off to the side. So once you enter the courtyard and into that large first hall, I want perception checks from everyone as you are making your final walk before the end.
That is a big old one.
16.
4.
So Sakidi, this time as you are walking by, you are on the opposite side of the hallway now because you are not being forced to walk in a straight line. You actually see that family portrait that I believe it was Aeolus saw on the way in. It has a mother, father, and two twin girls with raven hair. And you are close enough now, you see on the inscription, say, Bernard, Eleanor, Lucia, and Lana. As you walk by, you're seeing some of the other family portraits. You notice something. The two twin girls in the portraits have purple eyes with raven hair. And that's where we end our story.